Thanks for joining me for the Pick a Card reading today. We're going to look for advice for mythical creatures, and each pile has a message from fairies, unicorns, mermaids, fairy tale characters, and angels. But before I begin, I want to say hi to all of my new viewers and subscribers. I provide free readings on my YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so if you don't want to miss out, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Many viewers have been asking how to book a private reading with me. All information about that is available in the description box, but I don't want to waste your time talking about that now. Anyway, today I thought it would be fun to do a pick a card reading with advice from mythical beings. Myths and fairy tales have a sort of magic of their own that brings people together through shared archetypical meanings. For example, we all have an image come to mind when thinking of Prince Charming, a beautiful maiden or princess, or a wicked witch. Alright, so let's begin. I'd like for you to take a deep breath and open up your mind to the messages you will be receiving today. Let go of all tension and focus on a pile of cards. Pink, purple, or blue. And let your heart fall on the one you are most guided to. By using this law of attraction, that will be the message meant for you today. Alright, for those of you who just need a few minutes, go ahead and pause the video and make your decision. And for those of you who have already picked, we're going to start with the pink. Right, so pink. So, our fairy card, our fairy tale card is Gretel. Oh wow. Our mermaid card is Air. Our angel card is Forgiveness. Our fairy card is talking about a person, the King of Autumn. And our unicorn card is telling us to try something new. So let's look at this all in context, okay? All right, here we go. All right. I'm just tuning in here. Okay. This one is actually talking about you, the viewer. I thought maybe it might be a person in your life, but this is actually the viewer. We've got the Try Something New card, which is like, you only know that you can do something if you try. I understand how scary it can be sometimes to take a risk or do something new with your life, especially if you take comfort in your routines and all of that kind of stuff. But the Try Something New card combined with the King of Autumn, which is be assertive when it comes to what you know is right, everything going your way, a good person or company to work for. This is telling me that there might be something new in your workplace that you might want to focus on. The King of Autumn in this Fairy Oracle deck, well, it's actually a tarot deck, but it's a non-traditional one. This would be the King of Coins in a regular tarot deck, but the messages are a little bit different. So the King of Autumn in this case, he's also very compassionate, he's accomplished, charismatic, and gifted. I apologize, that's my dog. She gets a little excited sometimes. But anyway, so trying something new paired with this guy is like, either there's somebody who is really, really charismatic and accomplished that you might feel like maybe he's out of your league, or she, and this might be speaking to, you know, maybe you should just smile at this person or say hi and just try it out, you know, of course, if you're free and if they are. But he's associated mostly with work. So this might be like a new creative endeavor, like a side job or something, or it could just be something new at work that is kind of like giving you permission to try something new. Okay, now I feel like this forgiveness card from the Angel Oracle And this is the Healing with Your Angels Oracle deck. It's one of my favorite decks. It says forgiveness. This might be something where, this might be a situation where you are maybe holding a grudge, or, gosh, I really feel like it's about yourself though. I feel like you've done something that you weren't supposed to do, or maybe you wish you... It seems like the way it's coming out to me, and I have no intention of putting any kind of judgment on anybody who's viewing this, but the way it's coming out to me is that from an outside perspective, it would look really, really silly and not important. But for some reason, it's important to you. It might be something like you said, something like that you think is stupid or silly or whatever. But it's looking for forgiveness of yourself, I believe. Just know you make mistakes. You're human. That's, so that's kind of like part of that. And then the other one, since there's air here, air means communication. Because of course our voice carries on air. And so forgiveness and air together can indicate needing to talk to somebody about something to reach that forgiveness. Now this card is a very beautiful, obviously very intense card. It's air, obviously, and it's breathing deep, entering into life, an exchange of life, bringing energies, okay? So this is just like, what's this telling you is that it would be a good time to like spend time in nature right now. Surround yourself with things that are alive, Obviously, sometimes this air card comes up because you just need to stop and take a big breath and know that everything's okay. I know that sometimes that can help. And it's also just, again, like with communication and all of that, but given the message on the card, I really think that this has more to do with spending some time out in nature. I think that will really go far. So just wait for a nice day in the next week or two, and like just spend some time in nature. It doesn't even have to be that long. It could be 15 minutes, or it could be, a couple of hours, just whatever. Just make sure you breathe in that fresh air, the way that I'm imagining it. But of course I would, because this is where I would love to go. I imagine it like inside a forest or something like that. So, breathing that fresh air from the vegetation, but you do what speaks to you. And so if that doesn't mean forest for you, then by all means go somewhere else, the beach or whatever. So this last one, I really, really love this deck, okay? I really love it, and some people adore the art, and some people are like, oh, that's kind of creepy, okay? So this is the Gretel card, and you see her eyes. Oh, they're just so reflective and so, like, pensive. It's just really interesting to me. And like fairy tales, this person looks like someone that's both innocent and dark, because fairy tales have some really, really dark messages in them. But the card that you got was Gretel, and this is from the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. If you haven't heard of it, go ahead and look it up, because the whole fairy tale might have something more to tell you. But this card means ingenuine. I'm gonna mispronounce it and then sound like I'm not a genius. Ingenuity, okay? Ingenuity. There, I did it. Okay, it means genius, okay? It means being resourceful. It means kind of planning ahead. It means, working out puzzles and figuring things out. So this is a card that you would get if you're really intelligent, and right now you need to use kind of like some of your resources for that. So just kind of keep that in mind. And I also wanted to say that, I've seen other readers do this, and please, if this isn't your thing, then just totally, don't even worry about it. But I do see the elements of water. Then we've got the King of Autumn, which is the King of Coins, so that's earth, and then air. So this can apply to water signs, earth signs, and air signs. If we look at it that way, if somebody's in your life that's those signs in astrology, that's the person, that's the indicator of who you need to forgive. and where you need to be in where you need to use your genius. I'm so sorry. I'm just not even going to go close to that word again. This overall is like kind of like you've got some really good stuff here, like trying something new and something coming, like maybe in business or maybe even with a romantic interest. And then you've also got this healing here, which is forgiveness, right? And then you've got self-healing and taking big, deep breaths, going outside, and being around life. And then you've got this like very mentally focused, you know, be resourceful, plan ahead, and that kind of thing. So it's a very well-rounded reading for you guys. And I think that it hits just about every point in life, as far as, you know, the major topics of work and health and spirituality and romance. So I think that this is a really, really good reading for you guys. Again, and just try to keep in mind all of these things. And if you need to, go ahead and rewind and watch it again so you can kind of absorb that message, because it's a lot, you know, to me it's a lot. So next we have the purple. Okay, so the mermaid is endurance. Okay. The fairy tale card is Tamlin. Okay. The unicorn card is family culture. All right. The angel card is harmony. Okay. And the fairy card is the Ten of Spring. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to like tune in to what all of this can mean here. Okay. All right, guys. I'll turn around these cards as I talk to them so that you can also look at them. I feel that these three cards are related and these two cards are related, but I mean, don't get me wrong, everything's related, but I feel that these three are kind of a cluster, and this is another cluster here. So what I've got, okay, the Ten of Spring, normally that would be the Ten of Wands in regular traditional tarot. This fairy tarot has just slightly different meanings. This one says, ask for help from others. All work and no play, being weighed down by too many responsibilities. What's going on here, guys, is that you are just, I mean, I know that you have to be responsible, and that's like part of your life, and that's part of who you are. I mean, you have to do that because that's what you have to do to take care of yourself. But it's like you need, it's almost like you need like some, maybe a short vacation, or to kind of carve out a time in your day to self-heal and give yourself some time to do some contemplation and things like that. Or because you're taking on so much, at least right now, for the time being, you might need to ask like a friend or maybe a family member for just a little bit of help until you get to the end of this period. Because I feel like this is a temporary thing. This is, I mean, yeah, you're always going to have to do the adult thing and be responsible and all of that good stuff. It's just, I feel like right now is a little bit more stressful, or there's a little bit extra burden here. And it could be just a buildup, you know, it could be just that at this point you're just kind of feeling it, you know, and that is, you know, that's kind of affecting you right now. But this is basically the reach out card. Reach out and get some help. It's okay to ask for help. And just remember, if it's significant to you, this is the Ten of Wands, or rods in the traditional tarot. And then this card's harmony. And I think that's a really interesting, I think that's such an interesting card, because when you put that with asking for help, and then you've got this family culture out here, which I'll get to. When people come together, like a harmony is struck. You know, this can also mean like striking a chord with somebody, like, ooh, that really resonates. Like you might be around someone, and I feel like would be more like in your love life, where you're like, wow, that person really said something that kind of is amazing to me, because I didn't realize that, you know, we were that similar about that one thing or whatever. So this is also kind of like that moment where things just kind of all come together, and you get excited because, you know, wow, they're, you know, like a coincidence or one of those kinds of things. So there's that, but there's also the harmony when it comes to asking for help and family culture as well. And I think that harmony, and I mean, just so that you guys know what I mean, it's, you know, working together, giving and getting, and that kind of thing, making sure that you're getting along with people, you know. So I would say that this card is also speaking to kind of going out of your way to try to get along with people, even if they're kind of difficult. But it also might be speaking to a romantic interest. And asking for help, I think that this kind of modifies that a little bit by saying, you know, maybe there's somebody that you gave help to recently or a while ago that maybe you could ask for that in return, and it'd be like an energy exchange. So kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking about, like, if you do need some kind of help from somebody, keep that in mind as the right person to ask. Family culture, I really love this card, and I think it's a really interesting card to be in this particular deck. This is about actually learning about your ancestry, learning more about your family stories and history, okay? Let me just kind of hold that up so you can see it. And I love the back of this. But yeah, learning more about your family stories and history. So this is like, what I feel is that there might be some kind of lack here. Like, there aren't a whole lot of people that really know some of those stories in your family. And so right now it's kind of like giving you that nudge, like, if you want to learn more about your family history, you know, even if it might not interest you right now might be the time to do that, because you're ripe to hear that information right now. This could also be a card that just says, go ahead and, you know, go to, I don't want to say one of them, but I mean, there are sites that allow you to get your DNA tested. I can say that I did one, and I really, really loved, the result, because I was able to learn more about myself and who I was related to. So I do think that for some of you guys, it's just as simple as that. Like, you know, hey, maybe you should do one of those DNA tests, you know. They're not super like cheap or anything, but they're not super expensive either. So kind of keep that in mind. And if you have a family member, actually, that most of the sites have this, if you have a family member that's done it, ask them if they can give you a link to get you some money off in that, because at least the one that I did it with has that available. So that would be a way to save money. Okay, so here's this endurance card, and it's kind of interesting because we've got this, like, okay, you're kind of heavily burdened, you're carrying around all of this stuff on your shoulders, you've got a lot of responsibilities, but this is also saying, keep going, just keep enduring, you're gonna be okay, you're almost, I mean, the way that it speaks to me, it's you're almost at the end, right? And then this, if you aren't familiar with the fairy tale of Tam Lin, go ahead and look that up. The whole story might have more meaning to you than just this card. But I can't go into the full story here. But this is like fighting your own personal battles, okay? And in the context of the story, of course, that can kind of color it a little bit. But it's like fighting your battles, like sticking up for yourself. I know that there are a lot of times in my life where I And I think this is because I'm a woman and the kind of culture that I live in. But sometimes I feel like I need a man to stick up for me, just because a man's voice is a little bit more powerful and a little bit more effective in the world. But I also know that sometimes I need to use my own female power to stick up for myself, and that's the point where it's appropriate for me. Now I know I know that there's some guys watching here, and I really don't mean to say anything negative about your masculinity in any way, but I just really feel like this is a card, especially for women, that you need to stick up for yourself in a situation. For men, it might just be being more assertive, fighting your own battles. It could be about choosing your own battles, but I'm just not getting that this is a card that has to do with that, because we do have harmony and all of that already established. So needing to fight a battle doesn't make sense with the harmony card and the family card and all of that. In this case, this is a battle, either an internal battle that you've been really fighting with yourself about. Maybe it's about a decision. Or, and this is what I'm getting the most, it's some kind of time where you're going to need to be assertive, or you're going to need to really stick up for something that you believe in, or something that is meaningful for you. So this card is basically, endure and get ready. Get ready to fight your own battle now. I don't feel like this is as violent as this card shows it out to be. And I just have to say, I love the art on these cards. I just think they're so pretty. I don't know if you see a glare on here. I am so sorry if you do, but I just love that they're like fairy tales. There's this like beautiful, very like young looking girl, and then all this darkness, just like in a real fairy tale, right? And some people hate the art and they think it's creepy, but I think it's really beautiful. I think that it does a good job of showing those fairy tales, but I'll stop talking about that. Basically, you guys, this is really big time for family and friends. And then I really feel like this is speaking to your own personal life, just keep on going, and stick up for yourself. And if there isn't a situation right now in the present that you aren't, you can't apply that to, be looking for that over the next week or so, because that might become appropriate later on. It might be that there's going to be a time in the future that you'll need to stick up for yourself, and remembering that you guys got this card will help you remember, hey, you know what, I need to say something. So yeah, so yeah, you've got it good. That family culture is just really, really interesting to me. Yeah, I just can't stop thinking about it. If you do end up learning about your family culture as a result of watching this video, I would love if there's some kind of interesting thing that you've learned about yourself or something like that. I would love it if you either left me a comment or sent me an email. My email's in the description, because I don't know, there's something about this is fascinating to me, and I just had to say that. So yeah, you guys are gonna be fine. Okay, time for the blue pile. All right, so your fairy card is the Eight of Winter, okay? Your angel oracle card is Miracles, okay? Your mermaid card is Sacrifice. That's an interesting one. Okay, your fairy tale card is the Children of Lear. So that's voice, okay? And your unicorn card, I love this. I love the way this looks. Just holding it up so you guys can admire it. Okay, I'm done with that. Self-indulgence is teamwork, okay? All right, so this is a very interesting, this is such an interesting, you guys have got some beautiful cards too. Let me just go ahead and hone in on this. Sorry, thank you for being patient with me. I just wanted to make sure I got it. Okay, I feel like for you guys, these 3 cards all go together, and then these 2 cards go together, okay? That doesn't mean that these cards, I mean, the whole message is going to be, is going to be coherent and everything, but these 2 cards are kind of like their own, and these 3 cards are their own. And I will turn them around as I start explaining their stories to you. And I just have to, like what I did with that unicorn card, I am so sorry. Just indulge me, okay? I think the art on these fairy tale cards is so pretty. And I know that some people find it really, really creepy, and I'm sorry if you're one of those people, but I just had to mention, I just love the art because it's like both very innocent looking with the features, the facial features, but it's also, there's darkness about it too, just like a fairy tale, just like a real fairy tale. I just love those cards, okay? So, wow, these are some really powerful cards. Really, really powerful. Oh, goodness. Okay. So I hate getting preachy, and I really don't want to come across as overly aggressive with as a person who cares about other people. I've got to say, you have got to believe in yourself. You have got to believe yourself, pick yourself up. You are good enough, okay? You are more than good enough. You have so much more than what it takes. There is only one person in the entire world that can be you, and that's you. And that's what you're put here to do, is to be yourself. It doesn't matter what you believe, what religion or non-religion or anything that you believe in, you are here to be you and to experience the world the way that you would. That's just a fact. That's just what happens when we are confronted with life. And this card is letting you know you've got to believe. You are not powerless in this situation. You are not. You have so much more power than you think that you do. And just, I don't know what happened that might have caused you to have lower self-confidence in some areas. But that's in the past. And a lot of that wasn't true. Don't take that hurtful place, where you were, and bring that inside of yourself to your conscious and let that be your internal voice, because that's not true. That voice is not true, okay? This card, the 8 of Winter, and just so you know, this is also the 8 of Swords in traditional decks. Tarot decks. This is a fairy tarot, so it's got a little bit different meanings, but you have absolutely what it takes to, I can tell that you have survived some pretty heavy stuff, but you do have what it takes, okay? And you're selling yourself short, and you've just got to believe. And that's another thing that comes with miracles, okay? When you believe, miracles tend to come. But miracles are also a part of belief too. If we believe that it's not possible that we could be good enough for something, and then we start believing in ourselves, and wow, oh, we are good enough. Or if we believe that we don't have what it takes, and then we just try anyway, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's a miracle, I do. I believe that this miracle is like, yes, it's a miracle because you've gotten past that frame of mind. And that's always a miracle to me. But I believe that the miracle is the realization that you actually have something that you think you don't. And then we've got sacrifice, and normally sacrifice would actually speak to having to make a sacrifice, like having to give something up to get something else, and kind of weighing the pros and cons of this. But I really believe that this sacrifice is speaking to what that negative self-talk, whatever that's holding you back, okay, that whatever's holding you back, this card is speaking to that, and just like, you've got to let go of that. And if you look at the imagery in this, it looks so dismal and dark for this mermaid here, but the message on the card is really beautiful. Sacrifice, there are those worth making, and there are those that will destroy you. Whatever you're holding on to, whatever you're telling yourself, it's it's just not healthy for you. It's not healthy for you at all. And then here comes the two that kind of go together, but of course it also goes with everything else. We've got the children of Lear, and I don't have enough time to go over all of the whole story or anything, but this fairy tale, you might want to look it up and read it. A lot of these are free online. This is about finding your voice and knowing that your voice is important. So this is another thing, is like you've got this voice maybe in your head or something you're telling yourself that you're not good enough for or at or something like that. This voice, this is a positive voice. This is a voice that carries positive change and all of that kind of stuff. And so this is telling you, hey, you can be a little bit more assertive. You can find that your own inner strength to produce, with voices. It can also be like music. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be your voice specifically. It could be the sound of an instrument. It could be a sound that is like a resonation. But this card is just speaking to finding your voice, and once you find it, embracing that and being that person. And then we've got the teamwork cards kind of hanging out here on its own. Work with others to make the situation come about. The way that I see it is two ways. In one way, for some of you, there's going to be somebody who's gone through something similar to what you're going through right now. And that would be somebody that would be really good to talk to about this stuff. And then the other way of looking at this is that you've got to speak up at work. Because teamwork, is always, it's got that work in there, So it's going to be about speaking up at work, because like here we're really delving into the unconscious. We're on the inside, and here we're on the outside. Teamwork, it happens outside of yourself, outside of your psyche, and your voice happens outside of yourself, outside of your psyche. So this is kind of like the consciousness, and this is kind of the unconscious, or this is the seen and this is the unseen. So this feels like you're out in public, or out with at least one other person, and you're talking about something you need to do together in order to make some kind of change, or reach some kind of deadline, that kind of thing. So that's the key, using your voice, being assertive, not holding back if you have an idea, especially if it kind of feels like it goes against the flow a little bit. That could be the one creative spark that you need in order to get a job done. So in this case, this is actually a very, very powerful message. Just because it's talking about some darkness inside of you, that doesn't mean that this is negative. That just means that, oh my gosh, you've got to get yourself ready for some miracles that are going to happen, because you're about to let this stuff go. And when you let that go, oh, it's going to be so beautiful. I mean, you're beautiful anyway. You really, really, really are. But when you are able to fully see how beautiful you are, that is going to be a huge miracle for you. And again, use your voice, and you're going to have to work with others a little bit too. I really hope that this has been helpful for you. And I respect that personal the personal messages, and I just wanted to say that I really thank you for allowing me to read for you today. Yeah, wow. In fact, everybody had really, really profound messages in their readings today, and so I'm really, really glad that I was able to do this, because I didn't know how it was gonna go. I didn't know if it was gonna be kind of like campy or like lame or something like that, but I'm glad that I did this, because it really yielded some pretty powerful messages. And maybe in about 6 months I'll do another one that's exactly the same, with different cards, hopefully. and see where that has shifted, because it was a really interesting reading here for all three groups. Thank you again for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the comment section, or you can always email me if you'd rather speak privately.